Good morning and welcome to another ironic introduction to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about slow playing a fight and why I think it's important that you learn how to do what I call a slow combo and why you understand the difference between a slow combo and a fast combo. Now a fast combo is what people typically do, where when they do their combo they press the buttons as fast as they can, or the inputs as fast as they can, and they can continue the fight from there. But I've actually found that the opponent is staggered for a period of time, and so you can actually slightly delay your inputs in order to stall the fight out just by a fraction of a second. But that fraction of a second can make a long and a huge difference over the long course of time. One example is damage over time effects. If you end any fight and there are still damage over time effects on the opponent when the fight ends, that means you didn't get the most out of your dots. You've actually cut the amount of damage you got from those damage over time effects, and that means that you were playing a riskier fight in the long run, where if you had slow played it, you might have gotten more damage, and in the end, you would have had multiple less hits needed in order to end the fight. And now that's really only relevant if the amount of hits is, less than 5, or if you're saving 6 hits, that's when it becomes relevant. But it also might be the difference between doing a 5-hit combo using your special and killing the enemy, and using a 5-hit combo using your special and the opponent living with 1 health. It becomes relevant, and it's more relevant in the long run. Now, I'm using Omega Red here, and me with my amazing video editing skills, non-existent, I'm hoping that I can show you the benefit of a slow combo play and a fast combo play all in one run. So if it doesn't work, I'm going to be remaking this video and kicking myself for my lack of editing skills. But if it works, well, then I prove once again that you don't need video editing skills. So I'll do a parry start here, and then the quick hit ends 4 stacks on the death spores. And even if I pause this, you can see that at best it would go up to 5, maybe 6, but definitely 4, maybe 5 after a quick hit. And that is a standard parry into a combo rotation. But you'll see when I do this fight again, and I apologize just for this delay, that if you do this right, that's weird. Oh, there we go. If you do this right, shout out to Goblin. This is the person who recruited me to my alliance. Thanks for having Blade, dude. I love using this as my example fight. But if you do a slow hit combo, you actually have more spores at the end of your combo. Let me show you. Oh, wasn't quite as quick on the dash there. And you can see I didn't pause it quite in time there. Not as good as the first one, not as example, but you saw after the second parry, followed by my series of combos, it was definitely 5, maybe 6. Now you might say 1 spore isn't the greatest difference. But this is just on Omega Red. I used him because you have the spore counter to explicitly show, and you might contest it, but I found pretty consistently that this slow hit combo works. Omega Red is just my example. This becomes more relevant on other champions who benefit way more from it. One example would be Hyperion. He is one of my go-tos just because I own him as a champion. It would be helpful if I could go pull up a list of champions. Hyperion would benefit from this slow play combo. Karnak is an example of someone who benefits from this slow play combo, at least in the beginning. Karnak, once you've got him ramped up, you don't need to worry about. But other champions that would benefit from this would be like Symbiote Supreme is like one of my major highlights, right? Because when you are Symbiote Supreme, every hit you put on the opponent is building up their special, but his special gain is tied to a timer, and so every fraction of a second you can stall the fight out is ideal for him. You'll also have other champions like who, if you're like trying to maximize on regeneration, like Dr. Voodoo, if for some reason you aren't at full health at the start of the fight, that would be ideal. But also champions who inflict bleeds, like once you've hit your max bleed stacks, because a lot of champions, like, they can only inflict 4 bleeds, or they can only inflict X number of armor D breaks. When you slow hit your combos, you are getting the most out of each of those timers, right? Because you don't know for sure that you're going to get your RNG reproc on your last hit. So you want each like bleed stack to be as long as possible in between each hit, and in that way you are getting the most out of your damage over time effect. If you've played a MMO before, a massive multiplayer online game like World of Warcraft, you will know that one of the standard rules for maximizing damage output is that you don't refresh your dots, your damage over time effects, until they are gone. You let them run their full timer. And that is just because of the way it works. Typically when a dot ends, like once it immediately ends, there is an extra tick of damage right there at the end. So if you don't let it clear all the way, you're missing out on damage. So if you refresh it, you're refreshing it in a window, and so you're essentially increasing the duration of time it takes to get damage from it. And that might sound really complicated. I apologize if it is. I can try better to explain it in the comments if you ask me to do better. I do apologize, as it is kind of like a mildly more complicated thing to describe. But slow playing fights in this way will get you more out of your dots, will get you more out of your time-based abilities like power gain or regeneration, or Symbiote Supreme's just standard passive. But also it's important to recognize that you will want to play fights very quickly, vice versa, like Symbiote Supreme. If you're playing up against Symbiote Supreme, he's not building special when you attack into him. So you want to parry start, hammer into him with very fast combos, maybe even end on a light attack instead of a medium attack to reduce the amount of time you have on animations, and go straight into another parry, and then combo into him again, and just kind of stun lock him against the wall or stagger lock him against the wall in that manner. So that being said, that's what I see as slow play versus quick play. If you have an issue with the way I set up my Omega Red fight, or you think that maybe I'm wrong in the way that counter went up, I'd be happy to do it again, because I do believe that it is very consistent. I believe that you are getting more out of the duration there, just because the stagger is predetermined and it's an animation stagger. So if you put your attack in right at the end of the stagger, you can get more time out of your combo, and hopefully someone maybe with better video editing can see that, and hopefully it's just visible enough that I don't have to justify that with video editing. That said, as always, I've talked more than I meant to, but I will talk to you later.